You can dim the lights now. Maybe take a slow breath. If you're listening with headphones, let the world fade just a bit. Let your thoughts drift out to sea. You're safe here, and you're about to fall asleep to something truly boring. But not just any boring. Tonight, you're going back over 1,000 years to a time when life was short, sleep was cold, and food was questionable. Tonight, you wake up in the Viking Age. It's still dark outside. The kind of dark that swallows everything. The air in the room is thick and smells like wood smoke, unwashed bodies, and boiled meat. You try to shift, but your back aches. You're lying on a rough bed of straw. Some of it has poked through the thin cloth beneath you. It scratches your side. Something small moves near your foot. Probably a mouse, maybe a rat. You're not alone. People are snoring around you. Someone coughs. A wet, hollow cough from deep in their chest. It echoes in the low ceiling of the longhouse. A baby whimpers, and a mother shushes it softly, the sound nearly drowned by the creaking of the beams above. The roof is low. You could probably touch it if you stood. Sod and timber, layered with smoke residue from years of fires. There's a central hearth, but it's just embers now. The room's cold, really cold. Your breath rises in a faint mist. You're wearing the same clothes you wore yesterday, and the day before. You don't really have a wardrobe here. Just a tunic made of itchy wool and trousers that smell faintly of goat. There's a cloak nearby. Someone's using it as a blanket. It might have been yours. You sit up slowly. Your head aches a little. Maybe from the ale last night. Maybe from sleeping on wood. The day is beginning, and you don't have much of a choice. Outside, someone's already chopping wood. You hear the dull thud of an axe biting into wet bark. A dog barks, then silence again, broken only by the wind. You stand. Your boots are near the door, but stiff with mud. Takes effort to squeeze your feet in. You wince as the cold seeps through. You step outside. The air slaps your face. It's sharp, salty, biting. You're near the coast. The wind smells of brine and seaweed. There's frost on the grass, and your breath becomes a cloud. The sky is a dull gray. The sun won't rise for hours. Your first job today is to fetch water. You grab a wooden bucket, still damp from yesterday. It's heavier than it looks. Your fingers already feel stiff as you begin walking toward the stream. It's not far, but the ground is slippery and you nearly fall more than once. No one helps. Everyone's busy, or pretending to be. The stream is half frozen. Thin ice cracks under your foot as you lean in. The water's so clear you can see the rocks below. But don't let that fool you. It's bone cold. Your fingers go numb instantly. You scoop, fill the bucket, spill a little. Your arm aches already. On the way back, you hear someone call out. Not at you. Just yelling. It's normal. People shout here. No one speaks softly. There's no time for manners when survival's a full-time job. You set the bucket down inside the longhouse. Your reward? A grunt from someone older than you. Probably your uncle. Or not. You don't know exactly how you're related. Most people here are part of the same handful of families. Names are reused. Roles are inherited. Breakfast is ready. If you can call it that. It's stew. Again. You sit cross-legged on the dirt floor and take a wooden bowl from the stack. The stew is thick, brown, and steaming. It smells like boiled onion and dried fish. Someone says it's lamb today. Someone else laughs. You don't ask questions. You dunk a piece of barley bread into it. The bread is tough, dry, and tastes faintly of smoke. You chew slowly. Talking during meals isn't really a thing here. People eat fast, as if the food might disappear. You wipe your mouth with your sleeve. There's no napkin. There's no cutlery either. Just a spoon you share with two other people. There's ale too. Not cold. Not carbonated. Just thick, slightly sour ale in a clay cup. It's been fermenting in a barrel in the corner. You take a sip and try not to grimace. You'll be drinking this all day. There's no clean water. Everyone drinks ale. Even the kids. Outside, the village is waking up. You see people tending fires, sharpening tools, repairing boats. Some are already hauling fish nets from the shore. The nets smell worse than the stew. There are gulls circling overhead, shrieking. One lands on a rooftop and stares at you like it knows something you don't. The houses here are close together, built from wood and turf. Smoke seeps from low chimneys. Doors hang crooked on leather hinges. Dogs wander freely, sniffing at trash piles. You step around one and head toward the goats. Because it's your turn to milk them. You crouch beside the first one. It's not happy to see you. You get kicked once. Then twice. The milk is warm and smells wrong. You splash some on your tunic. Great. Now you smell like goat, fish, and sour ale. Someone nearby is sharpening a blade. The scraping sound is slow, steady, and oddly calming. You glance over and see an old man working on a seeks, short and thick, more tool than weapon. His hands are cracked and black with dirt. He doesn't notice you watching. No one's really paying attention to you, unless you mess up. You finish with the goats and return to the longhouse. It's warmer now. Someone's added more wood to the hearth. You warm your hands over the flames, careful not to get too close. You've seen what happens when someone's cloak catches fire. It's not pretty. A woman hands you a bundle of wool. You'll be spinning today. You sigh, but take it. Everyone does their part. Doesn't matter if you're good at it. What matters is that it gets done. As you twist and pull the fibers, your mind drifts. Not to dreams, but to how cold your feet still are. Your hands are red and sore. You've been spinning wool for what feels like hours. The fibers catch on your skin. Your fingers are already chapped from the cold and split at the tips. No ointments here. No lotions. Just spit and patience. You hear someone shouting outside. Something about a chicken escaping. Someone laughs. Someone else curses. The laughter dies quickly, though. It always does. There's little room for joy here. Everything is too heavy. Too immediate. Someone calls your name. You don't hesitate. No one ignores a chore unless they want to go to bed hungry. You stand, stretch, feel something pop in your lower back. You're too young for that, but that doesn't matter. Everyone here feels older than they are. Work does that. You're sent to collect firewood from the edge of the woods. Not far, but far enough to feel it. You walk the muddy trail with a sack over your shoulder. The path is slick and narrow, lined with leafless trees that creak under the wind. It's late autumn, that in-between time when everything is dying, but winter hasn't yet taken over. There's a stillness to the forest. No birds, no insects, just wind and wet leaves underfoot. You find the woodpile. Some logs are dry enough. Others are rotting. You don't get to choose. You grab as much as you can carry, tie it with cord, and hoist it on your back. The weight makes you stumble. Your boots sink into the mud. Halfway back, it starts to rain. Not hard, just enough to make you miserable. Cold droplets slide down your neck. The wool tunic soaks it up. Now it clings to your skin, heavy and itchy. Your teeth chatter, but no one will care when you return. Being wet isn't an excuse. It's just normal. You walk faster. Your legs hurt. Your arms ache. But eventually you see the rooftops of the village again. Smoke curling lazily into the gray sky. You drop the firewood by the hearth and sit, trying to wring out your sleeves. Someone tosses you a scrap of cloth to dry your face. You use it, then realize it smells like sheep urine. Probably used to clean something earlier. You wipe your hands on your trousers instead. No one speaks to you. Everyone's busy. A woman nearby is sewing patches into a tunic that's more whole than fabric. A child is scraping old food from a wooden bowl using a broken bone. The silence isn't awkward. It's routine. You glance around the longhouse. It's darker now. The fire throws shadows against the walls. You notice how thin the walls are. Just wooden planks packed with moss. They don't stop the cold. They just slow it down. You hear thunder in the distance. Storms coming. The truth about Viking warriors, you've probably heard the stories. Fierce warriors. Bearded legends with axes and ships and fire in their eyes. That's not you. That's not most people. The average Viking didn't raid. Most never even saw battle. They farmed. They fished. They patched roofs and herded animals and worried about infection from minor cuts. Even warriors weren't invincible. Their swords weren't glowing with power. Most couldn't afford one. A sword was a luxury, a sign of status. You'd be lucky to hold a decent knife. Even shields were expensive. Made from linden wood, covered in leather, reinforced with iron if you had the coin. But you don't. So if a raid came, you'd probably just hide. Or run. Or die. But that's a story for another night. Sickness and medicine. If you can call it that someone's sick, you can tell by the smell. It's sharper than usual. Sour. Thick. There's a boy lying near the back wall, face red with fever. He shivers under 3 cloaks, all of them damp. An older woman leans over him, muttering something. She places a poultice on his forehead. Moss, lard, herbs. Maybe. You're not sure. You ask what's wrong. She shrugs. Bad wind, she says. That's the diagnosis. They don't know what a virus is, or bacteria. They just know that when the air goes bad, people get weak. Sometimes they recover. Sometimes they don't. Last winter, you lost 2 cousins to a cough that wouldn't go away. No one cried. Not because they didn't care, but because there's no time for mourning. Not properly. You're always preparing for the next death. There's no real medicine. No antiseptic. If you get a cut, it might kill you. If your tooth goes bad, you pull it with a knife and hope the infection doesn't spread. You've seen someone die from stepping on a nail. There's no soap. You wash with cold water, maybe sand. Your hands are never truly clean. Your hair is matted. Fleas are a fact of life. So are lice. You scratch the back of your neck and find another bite. Everyone stinks. You just get used to it. Winter isn't coming. It's already here. The storm hits at night. You're trying to sleep, but the wind howls like an animal. It tears at the roof, whistles through cracks in the timber. The fire's low, and the cold reaches your bones. People shift in their beds. Someone's whispering a prayer. Rain seeps in. You pull your cloak tighter, but it's no use. The damp wins. It always does. You wonder if tomorrow will bring snow, if the goats will survive, if the boy with the fever will wake up, if the bread will last. You wonder if you'll last. Outside, thunder rolls over the hills. Inside, your eyes close, but your muscles never fully relax. You sleep in pieces, in fear, in frost. You dream of warmth, but you never feel it. You wake up again. Not because you're rested, but because someone steps on your leg. No apology, just a grunt. That's the closest you'll get. The longhouse is darker this morning. The storm from last night took some of the roof with it. There's a puddle where your blanket should have been. Your cloak is soaked. Your fingers are stiff. Your knees ache before you even move. You hear coughing. Multiple people this time. The boy from yesterday. He's quiet now. Too quiet. No one talks about it. They just step around him. You sit up slowly, feeling the straw shift underneath you. It smells moldy. Your back is damp, your nose is running, and the fire didn't survive the night. There's smoke in the air, but no heat. Outside it's gray. Again, you step into your boots and wince. They're still wet. Breakfast is the same. A thin broth that tastes like it used to be food. Maybe cabbage. Maybe onion. You're not sure anymore. The bread is tougher today, like chewing bark. Your jaw hurts before you finish your first bite. Someone offers you a piece of dried fish. Crunches. Not because it's fried, because it's old. You thank them anyway. Politeness here is rare, but not unheard of, especially when food is involved. You go to the fields. The land outside the village isn't lush. It's stubborn. The earth is cold, clumpy, and full of rocks. But it's all you've got. Farming is survival, even in bad years. Especially in bad years. You're handed a wooden hoe with a cracked handle. You dig into the dirt, moving slow, feeling your shoulders strain with each drag. The mud sticks to your boots, to your knees. It never lets go. Beside you, someone swears under their breath. You don't even glance over. Everyone's miserable here. Complaining is just background noise. You dig. You plant. You cover. Your fingers go numb. Again. You think about how you used to complain about cold hands in modern life. The irony would be funny if your teeth weren't chattering. Lunch is bread, again. And more ale. Flat, Gritty, warm ale in a cracked clay mug. You drink slowly and try not to gag. A man nearby tells you it's his 5th mug today. You believe him. He still looks sober. Takes a lot to get drunk when your body's burning everything just to stay warm. You sit on a log and stare at the sky. There are no clouds today, just a constant, colorless haze. Someone mentions a feast coming up. You don't get excited. A feast here just means slightly better food and slightly louder shouting. And probably someone throwing up into a bucket. Names don't matter here, you've been here for a while now. And yet, you only know a few names. There's the old man with the limp. You think his name is Ivar. Or maybe Havden. He sharpens blades and talks to chickens. No one tells him to stop. There's the woman who sews. She might be your cousin. Or aunt. Possibly both. She has 6 kids. None of whom have spoken a full sentence to you. Then there's the man with the missing fingers. He doesn't talk. Just whistles. All the time. No tune, just noise. No one seems to care what you're called. You're just you. Or hey. Or that one. It's strange at first. Then it makes sense. People die too often here. Getting too attached is a risk. The boy who died. No one speaks his name now. They move his body to the edge of the village and light a small fire. You watch the smoke curl up into the gray sky and disappear. Just like him. You help build a roof, someone hands you a hammer. It's not yours and it's barely a hammer. The handle is split and held together with rope. You're told to climb onto the roof and help fix a hole. You ask how. The man just shrugs. So you do what you can. Your hands are clumsy. Your legs shake on the wooden beams. The thatch slips beneath your boots. Below you, kids shout and laugh. One throws a rock. It hits the wall near your head. No one stops him. You hammer in silence. The nails are handmade, each one precious. You drop one. It disappears into the mud. You don't get another. You use a twig. Instead. Eventually, someone calls you down. Not because it's done, but because it's good enough. That's how most things work here. Good enough. Darkness comes early, the sun starts to fade in the early afternoon. It's not even 4 hours of light, but it's done for the day. Inside, the longhouse fills with people. Not to socialize, but to survive. The wind outside is picking up again. You take off your cloak. Smells worse now. Wet wool, old milk, and smoke. You lay it by the fire, hoping it'll dry. It won't. Dinner is thick soup. Still mostly water. With barley, maybe some dried herbs. Someone claims they added pork. No one believes them. You eat in silence. No one makes eye contact. No one asks about your day. Everyone's thinking the same thing. Please don't let it get colder tonight. You try to sleep again, same spot. Same straw. Maybe more fleas. You lie down fully clothed. Your arms are sore. Your legs twitch. Your stomach growls. You try to shift, but your neighbor is already snoring, loud and wet. The roof creaks. The walls groan. The fire dims. The longhouse breathes slowly. People shift under blankets. Babies murmur in their sleep. Somewhere outside, a dog howls. And still, you're awake. You think about the day. And how it'll repeat. Almost exactly. You think about home. About warmth. About everything you used to take for granted. But mostly, you just try to stop thinking. Because here, thinking doesn't help. The rooster doesn't crow. Not today. Maybe it froze during the night. Maybe someone ate it. You wouldn't be surprised either way. You wake up slowly, eyes crusted with sleep. Your body aches, not sore like after a workout. Sore like something inside you is slowly breaking down from cold, from repetition, from too many days doing the same thing with not enough food. You hear coughing again. Not one person. Several. One of them is you. You rub your face and sit up. It takes more effort than it should. The fire is nothing but gray ashes. The air bites your nose and your fingers. Your breath looks like smoke. The man next to you is still snoring, flat on his back, mouth wide open. His breath smells like old ale and onions. You move away carefully, trying not to wake him. Your boots feel like frozen rocks. Today you're mending nets, no glory here. Just cold rope, stiff from sea salt and grime. Cuts into your fingers like dry vines. You're handed a pile of nets and a blunt bone needle. You sit near the water, surrounded by others doing the same. The wind never stops. It howls past your ears, yanking at your cloak. Your hands go numb. Then they burn. Then they stop feeling anything. You keep working. There's no option not to. The older man across from you farts loudly. No one reacts. He scratches his beard and spits. His lips are cracked and bleeding. You wonder how old he is. Maybe 40. Maybe 20. It's hard to tell here. Your stomach growls. Again. You ignore it. Everyone does. You tie the last knot, look down, and realize your net is crooked. Uneven. Weak. You consider redoing it. Then you don't. You toss it onto the finished pile and pretend it's fine. Someone calls out from the docks. Fish are in. You follow the others to help unload. The boat is small and smells like it's been dead for years. The fish are still twitching. Their scales are dull and their mouths open in frozen surprise. You carry 3 in your arms. They're slick and heavy. You drop one. It lands in mud. A dog grabs it before you can react. No one helps. No one scolds the dog. The women work harder than you notice it often. They're always working. Sewing. Cooking. Feeding kids. Fixing shoes. Washing something. Anything. With no soap. No hot water. Just hands. Just patience. One woman is kneeling at the stream, scrubbing a cloth with a rock. Her sleeves are rolled up. Her skin is red and raw. A baby is crying behind her, tied to a post with a cloth sling. She doesn't look back. She just keeps scrubbing. Later, you see her carrying firewood stacked up to her chin. She's limping slightly. No one offers to help. They have their own loads. Injuries are not bad luck. They're deadly. You see a man limp into the longhouse holding his leg. Blood is seeping through his trousers. A gash across his thigh, maybe from an axe. Maybe from slipping on ice. Doesn't matter. He's not screaming. He's focused. Calm. Too calm. They sit him near the fire and pour something over the wound. Maybe mead, maybe vinegar. He bites down on leather. You hear the hiss of pain in his breath. You smell the blood. It's metallic and sharp. Someone presses a hot iron to the cut. You look away. You hear him grunt. Then go silent. You glance over. His eyes are closed. Not passed out, just done reacting. There's no hospital. No gauze. No antibiotics. It'll heal. Or it won't. Either way, no one can stop what happens next. You smell smoke that isn't from the fire. It takes a moment to realize it's you. Your cloak brushed too close to the hearth. It didn't catch fully, but there's a singed corner now. You pat it down quickly, heart racing for the first time today. No one reacts. No panic. Just a glance, then back to whatever they were doing. You could have burned alive, and it would have been just another footnote in their day. A child offers you a stone. You're sitting on a log, trying to loosen a knot in your back. When a child walks up to you with something in their hand, they don't speak, just hold it out. It's a smooth rock, oval, probably from the river. No carvings, no meaning, just a stone. You take it. They run off. You put the stone in your pocket. You don't know why. Maybe for luck. Maybe for nothing. It's the first kind gesture you've received in days. The sun sets while you're still working. You're gathering kindling from the edge of the woods. The trees groan in the wind. Something cracks in the distance. Maybe a branch. Maybe an animal. You don't stop to check. You crouch to collect twigs. Your knees pop. Your back protests. When you finally stand, the sky is nearly black. You hurry back with numb fingers and aching calves. You trip once on a root on your own foot. You don't know. You don't fall. You just stumble. But it's enough to make your heart thud. You return to the longhouse with barely enough kindling to justify the effort. You dump it by the hearth. Someone nods. It's the closest you'll get to thanks. Dinner is quiet, thicker stew tonight. Probably the fish from earlier. It smells strong. You eat quickly. Not because you're hungry, but because you don't want to taste it too long. Someone plays a bone flute nearby. It's slow. Repetitive. Not really music. Just sound. No one talks. The boy who died 2 nights ago. His space is still empty. His blanket has been taken, though. already reused. Nothing is wasted. You sip your ale and try not to think about tomorrow. You dream of a toothache, and when you wake up, you actually have one. A dull throb in your molar. The kind that pulses behind your eye. You press your tongue against it. Bad idea. You know what happens next. That tooth isn't getting better. You'll pull it. Maybe with pliers. Maybe with your fingers. Maybe someone will do it for you with a hammer and a knife. No anesthesia. No numbness. Just pain. And the hope that it doesn't get infected. You sigh, roll over, and try to fall asleep again. The stone from the child presses against your leg through the fabric. You leave it there. Another day begins. You barely notice the night pass. There's no sun this morning. Just thick fog. It clings to the ground and soaks your hair. Everything looks washed out, muted. The sky is the color of wet wool. Again. You don't ask what day it is. No one knows. The calendar is a vague thing. Time moves in seasons, in harvests, in fish hauls and funerals. You chew on old bread. It scratches the roof of your mouth. Someone adds a scoop of stew to your bowl, and you pretend it helps. Then you're sent to collect eggs. The chickens are angry today. One of them pecks your hand. Another flies at your face. You grab what you can and get out. A cracked egg leaks down your sleeve. You don't bother wiping it off. You don't have a spare shirt anyway. You bring the eggs inside and someone immediately takes them. No thanks. No eye contact. The peck on your hand has drawn blood. You wrap it in a strip of cloth from your belt. You hope it doesn't get infected. You've seen what that looks like. Turns black. Then worse. You sit down, press your palm against your leg, and breathe slowly. You hear a story. The older ones tell stories in the evenings. Tonight, it's about a man who killed a neighbor over a stolen sheep. He was chased into the woods, where he was torn apart by spirits. Not wolves. Spirits. Everyone nods like it's true. You want to ask questions, but you don't. You're still new here. Later, someone mentions a draugr, a kind of walking corpse that steals your soul if you meet its eyes. You're told they live near the swamps. Or maybe under the longhouse. Depends on who's telling it. One man swears he saw his dead brother in the mist one morning. Just standing there, watching him. Said he dropped the wood he was carrying and ran until he puked. Everyone listens. No one laughs. You don't either. Because out here in this dark, in this cold, you start to believe things. Even when you don't want to. The gods are everywhere and nowhere. There's no church here. Just a wooden post in the ground with runes carved into it. A few people gather around it every few days, leaving offerings. Dried fish, bones, a feather, sometimes blood. They speak quietly, not to each other, to someone else. You watch from a distance. No one talks much about the gods, but everyone acts like they're being watched. When someone gets injured, they say it's because they were cursed, or they made the wrong offering. Or they spoke during a thunderstorm. You ask one man who his favorite god is. He squints and says, "The one who leaves me alone." You don't ask again. A stranger arrives. It's rare. But it happens. A man on horseback, tall, wrapped in furs with a long knife at his hip. His face is gaunt. He doesn't smile. He says little. Trades smoked fish for wool. Asks about the sea conditions. Sleeps by the fire and leaves before dawn. No one asks his name. When he's gone, someone says he might have killed someone. Others nod. Then they go back to mending shoes. You think about the knife at his side. How heavy it looked. How casually he carried it. You dream about it that night. Not the blade. The weight. Winter is no longer approaching. It's here. The first snow is quiet. It arrives like an afterthought, soft, steady, endless. You step outside in the morning and the world has changed. Everything is white. Still. Clean for the first time in months. It won't last. The snow gets dirted quickly by footprints, by waste, by life. You help shovel it off the longhouse roof with a flat board. Your fingers burn with each motion. The snow falls into your sleeves, into your boots, down your neck. Children laugh for a while. Then they stop. Your hands go red. Then pale. Then you can't feel them. You work anyway. There's a funeral. Sort of. A man died in the night. No one tells you how. He was old. Or sick. Or both. They wrap his body in cloth and take him toward the river. There's no ceremony. Just a few words. A name you don't catch. A murmured blessing. A splash as the weight pulls the bundle beneath the ice. You think of your own name. How easily it could vanish. By evening, the man's bed is already taken by someone else. The fire burns quietly. The room smells of pine and wet earth. You find an old bone in the dirt. It's not from an animal. You know that instantly. It's small. Too small. A child's, maybe. Or a hand. You don't say anything. You rebury it. You're not sure why. Fear? Respect? It doesn't matter. No one would care. Or they'd care too much. You walk away. Someone sings a song you don't understand. It's a woman. Younger than most. Sitting by the fire with her head down. The words are strange. Harsh consonants. Long vowels. Rising and falling like the sea. You don't ask what it means. But you feel it. It's not joyful. It's a song you hum when someone doesn't come back. You sleep lighter now. You hear everything. Footsteps in the dark. Rats in the walls. Someone weeping quietly. You sleep in a crouch, arms folded, legs drawn up, trying to keep warmth inside, trying not to think about your tooth, or your hand, or the bone you found. You squeeze the river stone in your pocket. You don't know why it helps, but it does. Not the kind you know. This one smells like death. It's made from ash and animal fat. You stir the pot with a wooden stick while a woman adds another ladle of lard. The heat rises in waves, stinging your eyes. Your stomach turns, but you keep stirring. The pot bubbles slowly. A skin forms on top. You're told that's a good sign. You scrape the mixture into wooden molds and set them near the hearth to harden. They won't be ready for days. Maybe longer. Maybe never if the fire dies again. You wipe your hands on a cloth. The smell stays. You carry it with you. Everything stays here. You help repair a boat. There's a crack in the hull. It's been there a while. Every day it gets worse, and every day people pretend it's fine. Today, someone finally decides it needs attention. You crawl under the boat with a chunk of pitch and a burning branch. The air is thick. Your throat burns. You smear the hot black resin into the gap, pressing it deep, sealing the cold out. For now, the boat groans as you move. Wood shifts. Something drips onto your back. Melted pitch or old fish oil. You don't check. When you crawl out, the light stings your eyes. The wind has picked up again. Your cloak flaps violently behind you. You pull it tight and walk back toward the house, dragging your boots through mud and snow. Everything is too heavy now. Your body moves slower. You feel it in your knees, in your neck, in your ribs. Every motion costs something. Every load seems twice as heavy. Even the buckets of water. You carry two at a time, sloshing ice-cold water against your legs. Your hands cramp. You drop one bucket. The handle snaps. No one helps. They just look. You gather the pieces. Tie them with twine. Try again. You succeed. Barely. You collapse near the fire and stare into the coals. Someone drops a bowl in front of you. It's soup. Thin again. Barely warm. You eat anyway. You see a man cry. He's not young. His face is weathered. One eye cloudy. He usually jokes about everything, even death. But tonight, he sits alone with a hand over his face. You pretend not to notice. He's holding something. A small cloth bundle. Maybe a piece of clothing. Maybe not. Later, you find out his wife died last winter. You never knew she existed. That's how quickly people vanish here. You think about leaving, not in a dramatic way. Just walking away, toward the woods. Or the coast. You wonder how far you'd get. You wonder what's out there. Then you remember. Cold, wolves, starvation, bandits, and worse. You stay. Everyone stays. You help bury a dog it froze during the night. Curled by the fire, too old to move. No one says a word. You wrap it in a torn blanket and carry it beyond the edge of the village. There's a spot where the ground is soft. You dig with a broken shovel. Hands blister. Your breath clouds the air. You bury it deep. No prayers. Just soil. Then you walk back. No one asks where you were. There's laughter for a moment. One of the children slips in the mud and lands flat on their back. They laugh. A real laugh. Bright, echoing, almost foreign. Others laugh too. Even you smile. It lasts maybe 10 seconds. Then the child starts crying. Their arms bent wrong. You hear the crack. Everyone goes quiet. A woman rushes over, picks the child up, and carries them into the house. Later, you hear the child screaming. Then not. You don't ask what happened. The sky is clear for once at night. For the first time in weeks, the clouds part. Stars spread across the sky, sharper and colder than you've ever seen. A streak of light moves across the dark. Maybe a comet, maybe nothing. You lie on your back in the snow and stare up, fingers locked over your chest. It's beautiful, but it doesn't change anything. The cold still bites. The wind still cuts. Tomorrow will be the same. You close your eyes and pretend you're somewhere else. Just for a minute. Snowed again last night. The path to the river is gone. Buried. The woodpile is frozen solid. You hit it with the back of an axe until splinters fly. Your arms are sore before the sun even rises. You don't speak to anyone. You barely look at anyone. They don't look at you either. The elder's hands are shaking. He's trying to carve a fishhook from bone. But his fingers won't hold steady. You watch from a distance. He drops the piece. It falls into the snow, disappears instantly. He stares at the ground for a moment, then stands, then walks away. You pick up the half-carved hook later. It's jagged, crude, still better than what you could make. You leave it by his bed. He doesn't say anything. You try to pray not to anyone, God. Not really, just out loud, quietly, into the wind. You ask for warmth. Not even comfort, just the absence of pain. You ask for silence, but the kind that brings peace, not emptiness. The wind doesn't answer. The fire crackles like it's laughing at you. You taste blood when you eat. Your tooth is worse, much worse. You chew on the other side, but it's hard to avoid. Even the soft food makes your jaw throb. You touch the gum with your tongue. It's swollen, warm. You know what that means. You don't say anything. No one offers help unless asked. Even then, there's not much they can do. Someone mentions garlic and spit. Or honey. Or magic. You try none of it. You just stop chewing. A woman collapses while washing clothes. She doesn't scream. Just falls forward into the stream, shoulder deep in freezing water. You and two others pull her back. She's breathing but barely. Her lips are purple. Her skin pale and waxy. You carry her back wrapped in someone's cloak. They don't ask for it back. She stays by the fire for hours. Someone says she'll survive. Someone else says she won't. No one knows. A man brags about surviving a raid. He wasn't a warrior. He hid in the woods. Came back 2 days later. Found his house burned. His wife gone. He says it without emotion. You don't know if he's proud or ashamed. Maybe both. He shows you a coin he took from one of the dead raiders. It's silver. Heavy. You hold it for a moment. Feels cold. Clean. Out of place. You hand it back. He wraps it in a bit of cloth and tucks it under his shirt like a charm. You forget what your voice sounds like. It's been days since you spoke more than a sentence. You try humming once while you work. Just a note. But it sounds strange. Thin. Foreign. You stop. It's easier to stay quiet. Everyone else does. You start counting days by firewood, not dates. Not moons. Not names. Just how many bundles are left in the pile. How many logs before the cold winds. You count them in your head while you try to fall asleep. You imagine what happens when they run out. You don't let yourself finish the thought. You help mend a tent for a hunting trip. 2 men are leaving for the mountains tomorrow. Looking for deer. Or anything that moves. You patch the canvas they'll use for shelter. It's stiff with old blood and mildew. They joke about not coming back. You don't laugh. You hand them each a bundle of dried fish and 2 sharp sticks. That's it. You watch them leave at dawn. They walk into the snow without looking back. You already know one won't return. The longhouse feels smaller every day, not in size. In air. The smoke hangs heavier now. No one opens the door unless they have to. The walls are black with soot. The floor is always damp. You sleep closer to the fire now. But the warmth doesn't reach you. You're starting to feel hollow, like your body's still here, but something inside has gone somewhere else. You dream of a warm bath, not luxury. Just water. Hot. Clean. Still. You don't remember the last time you were fully clean. You wake up with your mouth dry and your teeth aching. You drink warm ale and pretend it's something else. You wake up with snow on your blanket. Not much. Just enough to feel it in your hair, in your breath. The wind must have blown through the roof again. Someone stuffed straw into the cracks last week. But it didn't hold. You sit up slowly. Everything aches. You cough. Just once. Then again. You taste metal. Then it passes. You stretch your fingers over the fire. The skin cracks when you do. A man loses his axe. It slipped from his belt while he was out in the woods. He's been looking all morning. You see him walking in circles, kicking snow, talking to himself. You offer to help. He doesn't say yes, but he doesn't stop you. You both dig through drifts with sticks and hands. Eventually he finds it, stuck in a tree root. He laughs, just once, then wipes it off and walks back toward the village. You follow in silence. A woman tells you a riddle. She's old, nearly blind. She sits by the fire most days, carving small runes into bone. She tells you this. What has a face, but no eyes, 2 hands, but cannot hold? You pause. She smiles. It's a trap, she says, because we don't have clocks. She laughs at her own joke, coughs for a full minute, then spits into the fire. You don't forget the riddle. The boys fight in the mud. It starts over nothing. Comment. A dare. A shove. They fall fast. Punching. Biting. Rolling. No one stops them. Not at first. The older men just watch. Arms crossed. Silent. One boy bleeds from his nose. The other from his mouth. It ends when one starts to cry. That's when the watching ends. No winner. No punishment. The boy with the bloody lip limps away. The other curls against the wall and sleeps. Someone starts losing their mind. He talks to people who aren't there. At night, he whispers to the shadows. During the day, he smiles too much. The things that aren't funny. Once, he tried to walk into the sea. Someone pulled him back. Now he's watched. Quietly. Always from a distance. No one speaks about it. You wonder how close you are to doing the same. You fix a roof with your bare hands. The wind tore off a panel last night. There aren't enough nails. There aren't enough hands. So you climb the frame and hold it down with your body while someone ties it in place. Your arms go numb. Your face burns from the cold. You slip once. Almost fall. No one calls out. When it's done, you lie flat on the roof, chest rising and falling, staring at a sky that doesn't care. You stay there longer than you should. There's a baby now. Someone gave birth last night. You didn't hear it. Somehow. But in the morning, there's a new voice. A high, soft cry that cuts through the smoke and the coughing. The mother is asleep, pale and still. The baby is wrapped in cloth and placed in a basket near the fire. You watch it blink. It looks too small, too new for this place. You don't say anything. But for a moment you feel something strange. Hope, maybe, or worry. It's hard to tell the difference anymore. A man leaves without saying why. You see him walk past the longhouse with a pack on his shoulder and a bough on his back. No one stops him. You ask where he's going. Someone shrugs. South, they guess. You watch until he disappears beyond the trees. That night, his space by the fire is already taken. Your coat is falling apart. The stitching gave out near the shoulder. Now the wind gets in. You patch it with string. Then with more string. Then with a strip of hide from a ruined boot. It holds. Barely. You miss zippers. You miss dry socks. You miss the idea of not being cold. Someone makes a joke that's actually funny. It's about fish. About how you could build a house out of bones if someone would just stop boiling them first. You laugh. You actually laugh. It's strange the way your chest lifts. Your eyes water. You don't remember the last time. The man who told the joke smiles like he's proud. Then scratches his beard and moves on. Your hand starts to tremble at first, only after work. Then during meals. Then all the time. You hide it in your cloak. You don't want to ask what it means. You just start eating with the other hand. You forget what you dreamed about. It was something loud, maybe falling, maybe shouting. But now there's just silence. Smoke. Cold. You sit up and feel the ache in your spine like a reminder. You're still here. Still inside this skin. Still in this season that never ends. You stretch your fingers. One doesn't move right anymore. You pretend not to notice. You're told to watch a child, the mother has to fetch wood. The child is maybe 3. Big eyes. Snot on their upper lip. Hair tangled like a bird's nest. They stare at you. You stare back. You don't talk much. You hand them a bit of bread. They throw it. You sigh. Pick it up. Eat it yourself. Eventually, they crawl into your lap and fall asleep. Their weight is warm. For once, your legs don't feel like stone. You learn a new word in their language. You've heard it a dozen times before but never asked. Today you do. It means quiet snow. Not snow in general. Not heavy snow. Just the kind that falls without sound and covers things like secrets. You repeat it a few times under your breath. Then you forget it again. The way you forget what day it is. A blade breaks while you're cutting kindling. It was already cracked. You knew that. Still, the snap startles you. The broken edge slices your palm. Not deep, but deep enough to matter. You wrap it with cloth. Press hard. You don't flinch. Someone asks what happened. You say, "Wood fought back." They grunt. That's the joke of the day. You hear music from the forest, or maybe it's wind. A long, low tone that rises, then falls. Not a melody, just sound. You stop stacking wood and listen. It fades. Comes back. Fades again. You don't chase it. You've seen what happens to people who do. The fisherman's wife vanishes. She was there last night. This morning, her bed is empty. No note. No trail. No answers. The fisherman doesn't cry. He just sharpens his knife for 2 hours straight. Then he leaves. No one follows. You ask someone if this happens often. They nod. The food runs out for a day, not entirely, but close. The pot is scraped clean before you reach it. You get hot water and a piece of root vegetable. Maybe turnip. Maybe not. You chew slowly, trying to make it last. Your stomach groans for hours. You walk outside and eat snow just to feel something cold that isn't hunger. You dig out a frozen sheep. It wandered off weeks ago. You find it under a drift, legs sticking out like broken sticks. You and 2 others carry it back. Thaw it over the fire. Someone peels the skin. The smell is unbearable. You step outside and throw up. When you return, the meat is in the stew pot. You eat it. You don't throw up again. The baby won't stop crying hours. Maybe more. Nothing helps. The mother looks dead behind the eyes. You watch her hold the child against her chest. Her lips moving with no sound. Eventually, the crying stops. Everyone exhales like they've been holding it in. The silence afterward is worse. You think you see someone in the trees not far. Just on the edge of the path. You stop. Stare. Nothing moves. You blink. Still nothing. You walk faster. You don't look back. Your tooth falls out, no blood. No warning. Just a dull pop in your mouth as you chew. You spit it into your hand. It's black on one side. You toss it into the fire. You don't say a word. You wake up in darkness again. You're not even sure how long you've been asleep. Minutes? Hours? The fire is almost out. Only the faintest red glow pulses beneath the ash. You roll closer. It doesn't help. Your breath fogs in the air. You pull the cloak over your nose and listen. Someone is crying softly in the corner. You don't ask who. The hunters return, or at least one does. He comes back alone. His beard is frozen. His boots are torn. He carries no meat, just a pelt. Fox, maybe. He sits by the fire and says nothing. Someone hands him a cup of ale. He drinks half in one gulp, then stares into the flames for hours. Later, you see him bury something in the snow. You don't ask what it is. The longhouse gets quieter, not because people are resting, because there are fewer voices now. The old man who carved hooks hasn't moved in days. A girl who used to hum while she spun will now stares at the wall. The baby makes no sound. And outside, the snow keeps falling. You share a story you don't mean to. It just slips out. A memory. Something small. A warm day, long ago, with trees and water and the smell of fruit. Someone listens. They nod. Then share something of their own. About a wolf. Or a dream. Or both. You talk for 20 minutes. It's the most you've spoken in weeks. After, you both go back to work. But something feels different. Less alone. You patch the roof in the dark, it collapsed in the night. One side gave way under the weight of snow. You and 3 others work with torches and hammers, stuffing moss and thatch into the hole while the wind screams. One torch goes out. Then another. You finish in the dark, your fingers numb, your face raw. When it's done, no one celebrates. You go back inside, soaked to the bone, and lie on the floor until you stop shivering. A woman burns her own shoes, they were falling apart. Wet every day. Frozen every night. She tosses them into the fire and watches them curl and blacken. Someone asks what she'll wear now. She shrugs. Nothing to lose, she says. You clean a wound that isn't yours. A boy cut his hand on a bone shard. You hold it over a pot of boiling water and wipe it with cloth dipped in mead. He doesn't cry. You wrap it in linen. Tie it too tight. Loosen it. Tie it again. He thanks you with his eyes. You nod. Then both of you walk away. Someone starts drawing in the dirt, not words. Shapes, loops and spirals. They sit outside the house every day, tracing lines in the mud with a stick. When it snows, they do it again. No one asks why. No one tells them to stop. The wind blows the wrong way, they say it means something. That storms are coming. That someone's going to die. You're not superstitious. But you stay inside longer that day. The fire crackles differently. The air feels tight. That night, the boy with the fever stops breathing. You hear laughter that's not there late, while you're trying to sleep. It sounds like children, but there are no children awake. You sit up. Everyone else is asleep. The sound fades. You lie back down. You tell yourself it was just your own thoughts. But the next night, it happens again. You stop waking up with a start. Now it's slow. Not like sleep ending, more like sleep dissolving. You don't open your eyes right away. You listen first. The fire, still low. The wind, still pushing against the walls. The breathing of people who may or may not wake up with you. You open your eyes to smoke. You sit up and feel your bones argue. Another day, just like the last. You forget what month it is. You try to remember. Was it still winter? Or already spring? Someone says it's close to planting season. You look outside. Still white. Still silent. Still cold. You nod, but don't believe them. The ice on the river moves, not a thaw. Not yet, but it shifts. Cracks under the weight of itself. You hear it all the way from the longhouse. A deep, groaning sound like the earth is tired. No one reacts. They've heard it before. You walk to the edge and look. The ice has split down the center. The water beneath looks black. Like a mouth. Someone tells you to get more salt. You hike to the small storehouse near the rocks. It's barely a structure, just a roof over some barrels. You open one. The salt is wet, crusted, gray. You scoop some into a bag and start back. Your hands sting from touching it bare. When you return, someone says it's too much. You shrug. Go sit down. You watch a blade get sharpened for an hour, not because it's interesting, just because it's something. The rhythm, the scraping, the concentration. It's steady, predictable. You stare at the man's hands, at the way he moves like he's done this forever. When he's done, the blade is duller than when he started. He says nothing, just puts it down and walks off. You see the old man eat snow, not a handful, just a taste. He dips his fingers in it, licks them, sighs, then goes back inside. You don't know what that means, but it sticks with you. You smell smoke that's not from your fire. The village down the coast sent a signal, not a message, a warning. 3 columns of smoke. Not planned, not organized. You all watch the sky. No one says the word raiders, but it hangs there, just under the surface. You sharpen what you have. You move the children closer to the back wall. You don't sleep that night, but the raiders don't come. Not yet. Someone starts a list, not of names, of items. What's left? What's needed? What can't be replaced? A knife, a goat, a needle. Your name's not on the list. You ask if it should be. They shake their head. Not yet, they say. You catch your reflection in a piece of metal, you barely recognize it. Your cheeks are hollow. Your eyes look older. The skin near your mouth is cracked from the cold. You try to smile. It doesn't look right. You turn the metal over. The woman who used Tio Sing stops speaking, not for a reason. Not after a loss. Just one day she doesn't speak. She listens. She moves. She works. But no words. You ask her something once. She looks at you, nods, doesn't answer. Eventually, people stop asking her anything. You still hear the songs sometimes, in your head, but only the tune. The words are gone. You feed a stray dog, it wandered in from the woods. Thin, ribs showing, eyes too smart. You toss it a bone, takes it and runs off. The next night it's back. No one tells you to stop. No one tells you anything anymore. The days are getting longer. Barely. You notice it one morning. The light through the cracks in the roof lasts a few breaths more than usual. It doesn't warm anything, but it stays. You don't mention it. No one does. You just let it happen. Someone starts laughing too loud, it's not joy. It's too sharp. Too sudden. They laugh and then stop. Mid-breath. Everyone looks. Then they go back to eating. The laugher walks outside. You never see them again. A child starts drawing birds on the wall with charcoal. Just the outline. Wings spread like flying. One bird becomes 2. Then 4. Then 12. Someone wipes them off one night. In the morning, the drawings are back. No one says a word. They stay. The fire finally dies for good. You wake up and it's cold. Colder than usual. Someone tried to relight it with wet wood and gave up. No sparks. No smoke. Just silence and ash. You wrap yourself in what you can find. Sit close to the dead hearth. Wait. Eventually someone tries again. New wood. Drier. Catches. Slowly. Everyone watches. No one cheers. You just sit there together. Not warming. Just not freezing. The old man who never spoke tells you one thing. You're sitting by the stream, chewing on hard bread. He walks over, kneels, and stares at the water. He says, "It used to be louder." You nod. You're not sure what he means. He stands and leaves. You never hear him speak again. You carry a body he froze during the night. Young, strong, gone. You help carry him to the forest. Dig, wrap, place. The shovel hits rock. Then more rock. You make the hole anyway. The others say a few words. You don't. Your breath fogs in the still air. When it's done, you cover him. That night, someone takes his boots. You hear birds for the first time in months, just one at first. Then another. Faint, high-pitched, somewhere above. You look up. The sky is still gray, but something is shifting. Snow melts slowly at the edges. Wood cracks in the walls as it dries. Someone opens a window, only for a second. You dream of a warm floor, not fire, not sun, just warmth from beneath. No straw, no splinters, no rats. You lie on it in your dream and don't move. When you wake up, you're still cold. But your jaw isn't clenched. It's something. The woman who stopped speaking offers you a hand. You're fixing a broken beam near the goat pen. She appears beside you, silent. She holds out her hand to steady the post. You let her. The two of you finish the job without saying a word. When it's done, you both sit in the grass. Damp, cold, still. She hums, just once. That's it. You touch the river, the ice is gone. You kneel and dip your fingers in. It stings. You cup a handful and drink. Tastes like the end of something, and the start of something else. You walk back slowly, boots sinking into soft, wet ground. You pass the stone you buried months ago. It's half uncovered now. The frost gave it back. You leave it there. You don't need it anymore.